Here's another story that we've been following for you. A car dealership in Virginia, follow me on this, busted as a suspected money laundering operation for a Hezbollah-linked businessman in Lebanon. The owner, the same IT aide who was paid $7 million taxpayer dollars to provide IT services to 44 Democratic members of Congress. And joining me now is Daily Caller investigative reporter Luke Rosiak. Luke, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you. This
story seems like something that would be out of a movie, and it doesn't seem like something that would actually be happening. Take us through this a little bit with the Awan family and how they're involved.
For 14 years, Imran Awan has been running IT for dozens of House Democrats. As an IT guy, he can read all the emails and files of these members of Congress who are members of committees like the Intelligence Committee, Homeland Security, Foreign Affairs. And at the same time, he sets up this company. Who knows how he does it, because he's making $7 million between all his family members working full-time, $165,000 each running IT. They somehow found time to set up this used car dealership. And if you look at Operation Cassandra that we learned about recently, that's a common tactic by Hezbollah. And indeed, these guys took $100,000 from a fugitive from the U.S. Department of Justice by the name of Ali Al-Attar. Now, this guy has been linked to Hezbollah by the CIA.
So they took money. They took money from him to use it conceivably for these car dealerships, one of which it was called CIA.
That's one of the insane parts. It was called CIA, Cars International A, and it appeared there was markings of a front. Their business partner testified that the books were essentially a sham. They didn't even have inventory. If you needed to buy a car there, they would have to go across the street and borrow one from a different dealership. You know, they've got Ukrainian connections, which is the same thing you see with these Hezbollah dealerships.
Yeah.
You know, it has all the markings of just a complete suspicious company. And if you were working for if you're working for IT for the House of Representatives and you need to take $100,000 from foreign actors, it's, you know, potentially a money laundering vehicle.
And people will recognize him, his picture and his name, because of his connection to Debbie Wasserman Schultz as well.
Well, he didn't just have access to these emails when he took this money that's been linked from a guy linked to Hezbollah. He actually, House investigators found that he accessed the House server thousands of times without authorization. The House Democratic Caucus server, which is a sister organization of the DNC. So this is frightening stuff. I mean, he's got access to the stuff, he takes the money, and then he appears to act on it. So, you know, really, you add it all up, and you have to believe in a lot of coincidences to think there's nothing there.
So where does this stand? Where does this stand right now? Is he in jail? Are they all in jail, the whole family?
Well, that's the remarkable thing. Just like when in Operation Cassandra, when you don't see action by the Department of Justice, there's been very little done on this case. A prudent person would have reason to believe that these guys could have been engaged in a foreign intelligence gathering operation, not only on U.S. soil, but embedded in the U.S. Congress. When you put all these facts together, and the Department of Justice hasn't even looked into it enough to disprove or prove that. So these guys have only been charged with relatively minor crimes involving trying to flee the country after they learned about this underlying investigation. But there have been no underlying charges brought, and it's been over a year.
It's unreal. And was it Imran's wife, who was also Ukrainian, who was also working for IT for the Congress?
Yeah, they had, you know, 5 or 6 family members. One of them's Ukrainian. She created all these other car dealerships, but they don't seem to exist. So how do you have a car dealership that doesn't exist? Where do I go to buy the car?
Good question. People should look at your article. Log on to Daily Caller. They can also find you at Luke Rosiak. Luke, thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Big story.